got my shit together, excuse me. I was like, all right, we need to survive as long as we can. That's it. Like, and what's weird is now that I think about it, that I can think about it more and talk about it, I never thought I was gonna not make it.
Thank you for joining us, Raul.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. It's been a long time coming, picking your brains, man.
We're so excited to have you here. You know, it's one of those things where you see an image and you're like, who is that human being in that image? Right? Like, what is that story that man had to go through to put himself in a position where, how big was the tiger shark?
A pretty big one, probably like 12 foot, right around there.
Man,
big one.
It looks double.
Yeah.
12. It looks 24 feet.
Yeah.
When it's almost eating you.
Yeah. And I've seen it. I was lucky enough because I'd seen it do that before. Like I have a picture of it. Maybe I can get it and we can put it here or something. I seen him like stall and arch and go for the box. Like I've seen him do that. And I had pictures. I'm like, it's an interesting position of a tiger where her back's like curled. And I was just in my mind. And I remember that day, like as soon as she stalled, like because that mask kind of, you lose some of that visibility, right? So it's like here, and I'm just like, she's gone by a couple of times. I'm really forcing it though. That day was like, we had some people and they were like very, ego, and that day I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to bust somebody's ass today, So I'm like, I'm going to post up on this bait box and just hammer it all day. So then like conditions start deteriorating and you can see in the video that's starting to get powdery, and we had 8 tigers around at the time. So it was just like, they're coming, and she came and I'd get in front and she came. And then the third time I dove, she's coming, I'm just watching her belly and I see her stop.
You're on the bottom.
I'm on the bottom.
Breath.
Yeah.
How deep are you?
There it's like 20 feet to the sand.
And you're in the Bahamas? Where?
Yeah,
Bahamas?
This is West End, Bahamas, where that Tiger Beach is. And most of the time, those things have been chummed for so long, they know the deal. They know humans. They know like, okay, we're getting fed. They're not on the menu. Even think like the couple deaths that have happened there since like early 2000s were bull sharks. There weren't tigers. I know a tiger got a guy, they were night diving. This is crazy. Yeah, man. They have like they mount a spotlight on the back of the boat that's probably like 50 foot in diameter. And they like those pictures where they come out great, where it's like dark and they just touch it with the flash. So it's like everything's dark and you have.
Just see this big.
Yeah, it's just killer.
Striped.
I wouldn't do that. I would never dive at night.
And you do a lot of crazy stuff.
I think that's the thing of like when you're naive and young, that's like a young man's game. Like during that time, how about this? I wouldn't dive there anymore.
Still, right now you wouldn't.
No.
Wow.
I mean, unless I was with like really competent guys and we're like rolling by there. Like, let's say for you guys, you're like, yo, let's check out these tigers real quick. Like real quick, in and out. Okay, cool. But like stay there hammering, looking for trouble.
With a bunch of
like
tourists.
wanting. Yeah. And a lot of times it wasn't tourists. It would be like real diver, guys who were, from Nat Geo guys to Discovery to stuff like that. So you did get exposed to some really awesome people, but then you get exposed to like, you're like, whoa. You can't like a marine biologist, like on the boat, be like, you can't take observations of these animals and apply them to all other, like, what are we doing here? Like we know these things they're named. We got names for them. So it's I call, they're preppy sharks. You run into a street tiger from the streets out in the open, it's going to be different. Oh, it's a whole different game.
The whole redirect thing with the
yeah. Go try on that.
Yeah, we'll try that another day.
That's not going to fly, dude.
So we're just trying to get this image out there, right? So you're sitting on the bottom.
Yeah.
You've been hammering them means what? You've been just feeding them?
getting them on the, like, just getting in front of them, pissing her off.
Getting them to come into
like
you.
getting in front of her in the box so she couldn't get to the box. And that's sometimes you get some of the best images like that where they're like charging you and like those head-on images. And everybody else was in a tank. And the tank guys, the problem is they're not as curious. Like you can get them real curious to come on the free dive.
Because of the bubbles and all the commotion.
Yeah, and just laying up on the bottom where you could lay up and throw sand like a stingray and those things will fucking come right to your back. You like turn your back, as you know, and you give them your back and you're like kind of looking, and then you turn and they'll be like, you can see it in their head. They're like, son of a gun. Like, I'll try again. Go back around. And so that one, it was just like, it wasn't her fault. I was getting on her nerves. You could almost see from the bite when she misses the first bite, you could tell she's like pissed. Like she goes down, she's like, I'm gonna just pop this guy's head.
But she was going for your head.
Yeah, I felt not only her stall, when she came down, I started feeling, if you see the picture, my hair starts getting sucked out of the wetsuit. Like if you focus in on that, you see two horns. Wow. So you know how they'll like suck and then crank it. So
and that's in your blind spot.
Yeah.
Like
so all I saw when she stalled, I just knew it was coming. So I didn't see it. I just knew I got to move. And when I moved and I saw her come down, once she missed, it's hard to see. But if you look, she tries to bite me 3 more times, like aggressively. Like once she missed, she's like, oh, you. And she turns. And luckily, I was able to get my hand like up on her gill. So as she was trying to turn, I was just like turning while she was.
That would have been the end of you.
Oh, I think she would have just would have grabbed my head and just like crushed it like a grape. Like they're like, where would, you'd be like, you'd be smoked. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't think she would have like, what we were thinking, like Mortal Kombat you, but I think she would have just like, and it was like cracked like an egg probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've gotten into worse ones there with those things. It just, that one was just happened to be on video and, but yeah, that was interesting.
For the people who don't know you, they may think like, oh, this guy just is motivated by this desire to like risk his life just so he can get attention. But that's complete opposite. Once people know you, you just want to be as close to these beautiful creatures as you can, be in their presence. And you correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
and just
I think that also
experience it.
It was just how I started photography was, I remember when I was young, I went on Google and I'm like wide angle picture of a sailfish underwater. And I just couldn't find one. I'm like, man, I want to see this. So the desire for the photography came from like, I just want to see what this looks like. And then you like make a shot list in your head. Like if I had Googled and that image would have popped up, I probably would have never gotten into it. So I'm like, man, I want to see this. So we started with that. And then it's like, man, there's so much other stuff that I want to see like played out in real life, not just in my head, what it might look like, but what it really would look like. And then very lucky to like learn from guys that had been doing it a while. Like this guy, Wolfgang, was the only guy free diving that spot at the time. If I never met him, I wouldn't put my toe in that water, dude. I wouldn't. And that's the truth. Like you get there and you're like, nah, man. Like there's like
where's
8,
my
10
cage?
foot.
Where's my cage?
There's 8, 10-foot lemons.
Yeah.
And then you look and those tigers make those lemons look like that's where you get the reference and you're like, Jesus, that's a big animal.
They cut them open and they find license plates, tire. I mean, they found every single object possible in tiger sharks. So you watch them on Nat Geo, like you said, they're eating birds, they're eating turtles. Like their jaws are strong enough to literally eat through a turtle's shell. Yeah. What are they going to do to your head?
And you usually don't see them coming.
That's the scary part about those things. Like you don't, especially like you guys know, like you have great awareness in the water. I'm sure just from the years of diving. You're always like in the Bahamas, I'm sure, like looking under your legs once in a while. You kind of feel it almost like, and I think that's a big part of it for sure. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've spent a lot of time at sea, and you've had some really crazy situations happen to you.
Yeah.
I mean, your life has been on the line many times.
A couple of times, yeah. Yeah, I've been running out.
Wow.
My mom says, you're running out, boy. Those lives are running out. You better cool it, Like, you're right. Yeah.
Well, what's tell us about that time where your life was pretty much over.
Yeah. That was a tough one. I was 25. I'll never forget. I know the date. I know exactly. And at the time, I had a girlfriend that they were in Bimini. They went over for the weekend, and I had been in Costa Rica, and I just got back. And this was like when I started doing pretty like good for myself in my early 20s. Like I actually like scrounged a little money together, and things were, I'm like, oh, this thing's working. And I bought a Ribcraft. You ever heard of those? It's a South African boat. It's a rigid hull inflatable. They really just they do beach launches for it. It was a little dive machine. Had a 200 Honda on it. It was a 20-foot boat.
Single engine, but like the day I got home, rib, but it was like a real rib, and like, man, we're here. I look at the weather. It's an oil slick. I'm like, all right, I'll go tomorrow. It looks beautiful. I go, I fuel at Crandon, and around like 8:30, and I take off, and I'm like in the middle I remember I went through a little rainstorm, but it was an oil slick. It was Jesus water. One of those days that we pray for, those crossings, you're like, oh. And I went through a little rainstorm, and I put on a 1.5 mil just to stop the, the pins and needles from the rain. And right after that, I'm, fish head, looking for birds, I'm like looking. And I didn't see a freighter wake. A freighter had gone by, and and that little wake, I was looking, and of course, kill switch. No. And this glass, and I know I've been across 100 times. Sure enough, that little freighter, boom, I went, go. My chest hits the steering wheel, and those low gunnels on those ribs, like basically like chop me, like undercut, like. And I just remember slowly like turning with the wheel and looking at the Honda, looking at the outboard, like as I'm rolling off the boat. And like I go, poof. And the boat's just doing circles
until it's out of sight.
Oh my!
And I'm just sitting there like, nah, that's not. It took 30 minutes for it not to feel like surreal, like a video game, like a dream. Like this didn't.
But this can't happen.
This
to
isn't
us.
happening.
This can't happen to people like us who understand the water. We don't. I mean, thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of hours.
And just like for half an hour, like this isn't happening. And then finally,
how far are you from Bimini?
I'm in the middle, right in the middle, 25
Zero
miles.
chance to swim home. Zero chance to swim to Bimini.
So I knew at the time, after I got my shit together, I was like, all right, we need to survive as long as we can. That's it. Like, and what's weird is now that I think about it, that I can think about it more and talk about it, I never thought I was going to not make it, which is a crazy thought at that time. And I think that's like that naivete when you're young, and I would just roll on my back and I would breathe up, and I had my watch. Luckily, I had my dive watch. I just set it for 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, that 1.5 mil probably saved my life.
Oh, for sure.
Just from the flotation and the hypothermia, it's warm water. It was in May, but after 10 hours in 80 something degree water, and
the float. I think
and
you
the
nailed it.
flotation
Just being able to float.
Dude. And it actually ended up saving me in another way at the end. So I would just every 15 minutes roll back, check everything. You're all right? All right. Let's get fishing again, and just like, let's try to survive as long as we can. And what's crazy is the only thing I thought about was mom, get back to mom. So I don't know what that's from, but we come from her, and I did not think about my dad. No offense, Pops, love you. My sister, but nobody except get back to mom. I had like 4 boats go by me, all of them within 50 yards of me. The last one was right there at that 10 yards away. I'll never forget. He's grady white. It was like, I remember it was like a beige, like a color you don't see Grady's a lot. It was like I remember I'm like, that's a nice color. That's a nice, but I could read Grady white. Wah! And they were just, and that broke me. At that point, I think I was like 5 or 6 hours in. And I remember after that, I was like, I tried a couple of times. Unfortunately, like I tried. I just exhaled everything. Yeah. I mean, it would have been so easy. It would have been, I'm telling you, it would have been, you wouldn't have felt anything. I was so tired and like crushed morally. And like, I remember like the first time I just like how easy it would have been. And my body didn't let me. Like I scrambled to the surface. I'm like, fine. And like, imagine, like, I'm like broken at this point. Then like, it was about 2 more hours. The sun's going down now. Now I'm like, gosh, you know, now I'm starting to get worried. I don't know how I wasn't worried before, but now I'm like, hey, this is starting to, you know, I don't want to be here at night.
Wow.
And I see a freighter and I'm like disoriented. So I look and I see him over there and then I'm like, Bob, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, I take the rash guard off, and it was one of those that inside had like neon. It was like, you know, some of those surf
orange ones,
yeah, or like I think it was like lime neon or whatever. And I start whipping it in the air, and I look again, I see him dropping a boat, bro. And I see him dropping a boat, and I was like, no way. They come on, like, no way. They get me in the boat. I was like crying, and it's a Filipino freighter, so they're all Filipinos. I'm fucking crying this guy's arm on the boat, like going back to the freighter. And they're like, you know, I get on the freighter first thing. I love those guys. I have a picture with the crew, and first thing they throw a blanket over me. They light a cigarette. They put it in my mouth. They give me a cup of coffee.
Can we get that picture?
Definitely. Yeah. I traded one of the guys right away. He goes, like, to my rash guard.
Yeah.
He's like, want to trade? And he's like, for his Crocs. Bro, I still have his Crocs. I have them framed at my house. Wow. It fits in my hand, the guy's Crocs. They're, you know, smaller guys on the boat. So they called the Coast Guard, and then the Coast Guard picked me up on the freighter, and we went in, and I spent a night at Hollywood Hospital. I was kicked out far north. They found me way up, like
Fort
just
Lauderdale, Pompano.
No, like right before West Palm.
They find your boat?
They found the boat, which sent out the Coast Guard rescue. They found a boat floating with nobody on it.
Yeah.
But it was way south of me. So where they were looking, I would have been. Yeah. And they got me. Luckily, I was fine. I swallowed some salt water. They kept me overnight for just observation. I was good. And my buddy Arturo picked me up, and I remember the next day he's like, hey, stay at my house, you know, like, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, let's go out on your boat. He had a 23 contender. I'm like, I need to go right now, because I want to know, you know, if I'm going to have any, like, visit whatever I'm going to feel. So we went out the next day from right there from the bay to Fowey and back, and I felt okay on the boat, and I was like, okay,
get back on the horse.
But little did I know that the mental effects it would have on me down the line were worse than I ever expected, that I had to work really hard to overcome. Like, I developed a panic disorder after that, and I started getting I never had it happen in the water, but I was getting it outside of the ocean. It would always scare me. I'm like, man, you do this for a living. Like, imagine if you, and this is to people who had a panic attack before, it's debilitating. You're like unresponsive. A real one, at least, where you have that adrenaline dump, you're not in a good place for yourself or to help anybody. You're a liability at that point. So it took a lot of therapy, and working with, I worked with, man, I could tell you, with probably everybody in town. I was petting horses at one point. They had me, and Noah felt like she was awesome, but I knew, I'm like, this ain't gonna say this. So I did like horse therapy from Imagine, everything. And I finally, shout out to Dr. Darren, because Dr. Darren, I won't say last name because I know, but Dr. Darren, he's like, he will work with people with trauma. And I didn't put myself in that category because I just feel like trauma, like there's such horrible stuff out there, from, like the pedophile,
you see it every day, man.
crazy stuff. So I was never like thinking that. And he told me, he goes, this was 8 years ago. This happened when I was 25, I'm 41. And I just got right with this about 7 years ago, that I was like, all right, we put this thing to rest, And I remember him telling me, he's like, you're not giving enough gravity to this. Like, yes, what you're telling me is right. It's horrible what these people go through. But usually, Raul, it's like 2 hours, 3, like it ends. Like where you were, you hit a switch there where you're like survival mode and you haven't turned it off. And he was right. Everything I did from there was like a chip on my shoulder. It was like going to war, and you don't know why. And that survival mode.
It's got to affect you when you also hear, it's got to be like a PTSD when you hear about, like Rob Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
Or the lawyer, the personal injury lawyer who they just found his boat.
I would love to talk to those guys to see that, survivors and compare. I mean, I don't think you could, like what Conrad did was like, if you're not a freak athlete, I don't think anybody survives that, what he went through. Like he swam back. Right?
He said like 5 miles or something. I mean, I don't know if that's
insane. I
what
believe
it was,
it.
But
I think that survival adrenaline thing is real. Like you will survive more than like those races. That's what I love. Like the I quits. You think you have 50% more in the tank than you when you think you're gassed. You still got. So Dr. Darren told me, he goes, and everything I'd done up until that day was like, I did it with a chip on my shoulder, not knowing like why. And he goes, you don't have to fight anymore. Bro, when he said that, my body unwound. It was like a reverse panic attack. I go, whoa. Like I felt like jello. I even needed to call an Uber to get home. And I asked him, I go, is this normal? He goes, if I did my job right, yeah. And from then on, it was completely different. So
what's that feeling like when you're alone in the middle of the ocean and there's no boat around and all you have is yourself and your thoughts and also, the negative thoughts of something can come and eat you right now?
Yeah, what I think the most evident thing to me there was more than the sharks or anything to eat, which it is in the back of your mind, like fucking have a Mako roll up, or something or whatever. It was more of like, you're nothing. You're nothing. When you die, these waves aren't going to stop for a second. That's what I thought. Like these waves, nothing is stopping at all for you because the ego lets us think that that's what broke that ego, where it's like, when you go now, these waves, nothing's going to care. Like the whole world's going to spin like you never even existed. I think that's the main thought that like scared me, that I was like, oh wow, like you are nothing. Like we're not, quick ride. And then, I think that was the main thing that I got from that, was more like, it was like an ego killer. Like it really, and when you're that age, like 25, you're like, you think nothing can ever happen. I'm running through brick walls, and I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like if I could say, hey, I would go through all that therapy and all that stuff again if I knew I was going to come out, because of everything's easy now. You get like, you're so much more grateful for everything. Like, it's just easy. You don't sweat the small stuff. Oh, traffic, whatever. Or you're at the airport, the flight's delayed. Whatever, we're here. There's food everywhere. There's AC. We can, like, you start just, I think, really looking at the stuff that's important.
Do you think that life experience where you're pretty much on death's doorstep, right? You're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone. If that freighter doesn't pick you up, you're gone.
Yeah.
And having that experience, do you think that is what drove you to start running those 100-milers?
Oh, I know that the running was something I leaned on in the beginning for like treating that. It kept me, I guess, the endorphins and it kept me almost too much leaning on it. That's what I did, was like I started running a lot to deal with, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and instead of like, you learn how to diffuse those bombs, like those you can breathe through it. And once you learn how to like dominate that, and I think I'm already more prone to that genetically. Like, I am a neurotic, anxious person without that aside. So then you add that and your brain starts creating things that never are going to happen. You start stressing about.
What's your resting heart rate?
I think it's probably in like 45s, 48s right now. It's been lower, it's been higher. It just depends. But I think I'm, pretty good conditioned, but nothing crazy, I would say. Yeah.
So let's fast forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
You've found a pot of gold, right?
I get.
In one way or another.
You wonder who found it first.
Well, whatever. I don't know. I got pictures, but
I like it. It's special down there.
It's very special,
Yeah.
and you're taking all your life's lessons and you're helping to bring joy to other people.
I never thought of it that way until Moose said it like that. Like, I always loved them, seeing people, like, you see them light up with those fish. Like, you're like, this is the coolest experience I've had. And you're like, but you never really think about it, like what you're doing. And he's like, man, you're doing a good thing. You're like putting, making people's dreams come true. And I like never really thought about that. And I was like, well, if that's like just a result, a product of what we love, well, it's even better, like incredible. But I never really thought of it that way until he's very, very sharp guy, that one. I've like learned, like, I was surprised. He dropped some like truth bombs during those trips where I looked at him, I'm like, man, this guy's sharp as hell, man. And what he did really interests me, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, like a lot of research. Like, one main job, it seemed like I got to research whatever it is we're dealing with and know it like the doctor, like, or whoever it is, like the back of his hand. So I was like taking notes. I'm like, this guy's got to be really good at researching, I'm sure.
He's got a story that's similar to yours.
Oh.
He's driving his boat. Listen to this though. He's driving his boat, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees something bobbing up and down in the water, right? So he's like the freighter that found you. Turns out it was the cutest little puppy dog ever.
He didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, and he pulls the boat over, rescues the puppy. We named the dog Wilson after Tom Hanks.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Wilson.
Oh, that's incredible.
He actually reunited the puppy with the
no
owner.
way.
Yeah, so it was
that doesn't surprise me with Moose.
Yeah.
He strikes me as like, that's the type of guy he is, and that kind of stuff happens. And like, even my favorite part of my Lost at Sea story was 6 years later. This is my favorite part of the story. Coming back from the Bahamas, I was working for a family. I did like the fishing and diving. So we're towing the fishing boat. They're on a big yacht. And I'm looking again. I'm on the aft deck of the yacht, and I'm like looking. I'm like, man, look at that floater. Like there's probably some dolphins on it. I'm like looking at it, and it's just weird. When you get like a buoy against current where you see it like sitting? I'm like, we're 8 miles off. I'm like asking one of the guys, I'm like, get some binoculars, man. I go, no fucking way. It's a dive sausage from a scuba diver.
Wow.
That inflated, and it's like it's
Wow.
a guy out there.
Really?
Wow.
I go up to the bridge. I'm like, Scott, I know we had a long weekend. Shout out Scott Sharaus, because he was like, we had 20 college graduates there. So we had a long weekend there in Bimini. That they had their fun time. It was like, he was like, we were pretty smoked as a crew. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, dude, there's a guy in the water. And it was rough. It was at that time, I think it was like 4 to 6, occasional 8s, like crumbling. So he's like, I'm not turning around. I'm like, dude, he's like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm telling you, there's a guy in the water. So, I got to make that big turn on the toe. And like, sure enough, I'm there in the wheelhouse. He's like, you better be.
Yeah, better be real.
I'm like, dude.
Like, if not, there could be some mice.
Yeah.
If we're wrong,
Not,
at
it
least
would have been
there's
a good
fish.
trick next time. Have a rod ready. Yeah, I swear I saw a guy in the water. And sure enough, like between swells, like comes up on like the 3rd wave. I'm like, look. And he's like,
Wow.
and we pull up, and the guy, get him on the boat. That's another, I've been looking for this guy. So Jeff from France, if anybody knows, we'll put his picture of me and him up here somewhere. He gets on the boat, and like crack him a beer. I'm like, hey, you need a beer, bro?
That's incredible.
And he stayed with us for, I don't know, half
He
an
got
hour.
picked up by 20 girls in a yacht.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah. He was just impressed, where he was like, this shouldn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but and he was just like, not that shook. He was gone for 2 hours. What happened was his family was in town, what he told me, and he went on a drift dive, and they got rough, and he was the only one diving, and they weren't experienced on the wheel, so they lost his bubbles. He got into a current and got kicked out. And so imagine, that's when I was like, all right, big guy, like looking upstairs, like, all right, there's something going on here, that these guys found me. Now I found a guy 6 years later. I was just like, not that I didn't have faith before, but it was just a different, I don't know what to call that, but it definitely made me start thinking more about, what's going on? Like what we all think. What are we doing here? What are we all doing? Like the big questions, the scary ones. So
we want to get tunas. How do we get to you? What's the game plan?
Tunas, we set it up now. I try to make it easier because, like I said, like we were talking before, man, you start getting older and like lugging the gear and getting to the destinations and rigging and moon phases and all that stuff. It starts getting to you. So I started leaving. My wife's family's from Guatemala. So when I got married there, that's when I saw them for the first time 9 years ago. But I didn't dive them until, let's say, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So
check the date on my
yeah,
picture.
you guys. I figured you had me by a couple of years down there, but I remember seeing them, and I'm like, how is this place like? And you could see why. It's like they got blinded by the bill fishing.
Yeah.
They got blinded by the, and I could see
30
why.
billfish a day.
Yeah, you raise 50 a day there. It's like, it's okay. Yeah. It's like, so we just did the bill fishing charter blueprint, and we made it spearfishing, where it's like, everything's ready, everything's rigged. We're in Iztapa, Guatemala. It's called Arrive and Dive. We partnered with Buena Vista Sport Fishing Lodge. So it's the same concept. You get there, everything's ready, and nice, like, bill fishing lodge service, like turn down, really where you can, I like it at our age now. I know for the younger guys, you still probably need a grind, need to sleep on some fiberglass, before how it was. And, but it just makes it like you can come back from a vacation feeling
recharged.
Like, not like you're like, I need another vacation from your Indo trip. I'm sure you get back, you're like, I need a proper one now. So yeah, just sleeping in AC and just like comforts, like those type of comforts, I think really helped get the guys recharged, because it's not day one, day two. By day three, you're starting to, drag some ass, and it's a little different. Then opening the market to the guys who want to do this kind of stuff, but they're strong divers. Like I had a lot of like guys that go to the Bahamas. Like most of our guys are like in their 30s. They're, you know, professionals are pretty established, but I've had from 21 to 60, and they're all capable there. Like you've seen how it can get there. I think when it's good, it's as good as it gets there. So I think just opening up that market where they're not have to invest in $4,000 worth of gear, and they don't even know if they like the thing, but they do have the ability to get down and pull the trigger. You know, it's not rocket science, and those fish actually, you know, because of their skin and the way they are, you have a lot of room for error, I think, with tuna. Yeah, big target. You know, you put that shot and it's buttoned up, she's pretty much in trouble, you know. So I think
you're gonna get somebody who's a rookie shooting the best fish that anyone could possibly shoot. You're gonna ruin all these people.
That's what you said. I tell them, like, one of the Mati and like a few guys, like I have a lot of guys, I would tell them, like, you know, you're ruined for life, you know? Like, you're ruined forever. Like I have friends that have been diving for 20 years and haven't shot that fish, you know, like. So yeah, that's one thing that they might not get until later, until they have those hard days, those blue desert, where it's a blue desert out there. You can't buy a bite. I don't care, you know. So it's good, man. At the same time, as long as the sport, it's good for the sport. I think it gets people, and I like to make it fun. That's how you start seeing like the leopard prints and that type of stuff. It's just to take the edge off this. Yeah. I think it's all macho stuff. It's not at all. And it's not, you know.
And you're there and you're taking pictures and using your artistic side of things.
I'm trying to get the guy's first tuna on video. So I could be there with the GoPro, and if anything happens, you know, try to get in there and, you know, do whatever you can to help them out. But like, I see it like it's mostly on that first shot you're going to get in trouble. Unless you're a cowboy at the end game. That first shot, if he touched something, he starts doing that crazy stuff where you're getting, like, he's not sounding and she's just wrapping you up and you're like, like,
so go a lot of room for things to go wrong.
Yeah.
The big fish like that. Yeah. Even a small yellowfin tuna.
The worst jam I've gotten was like a 50-pounder in like Panama.
They're moving a lot faster.
Yeah, it's just like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna just manhandle this thing. Like, no, you're not. You're not gonna do anything, dude. Nope. So yeah, they are incredibly resilient. Like I haven't seen many people like turn their switch off on the first shot. It's rare to see them, like, not like spinal tap, like put it right where she needs to, and I haven't seen it. Like just, it's rare.
Roll them.
Yeah, you'd think that spot's big because they're big, but it's just, I don't see it that often, man. I don't know how many times you've seen a guy roll a big yellowfin, but I haven't. Yeah. Besides John Cooper, son of a gun. Besides Cooper, that guy's a different animal, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. So he's been one of the few guys who's been down there. Like, I know you've been down there a lot, John Coop. And we kept it nice and low for a while. Sorry to let the cat out of the bag, but it was time, man. The private gigs had like eaten my soul, and I had like phenomenal bosses. You know, I've worked for great families. It had nothing to do with that. It was just like the stress of being on call and the stress of like somebody could die today, even on a little, or somebody could get very hurt today, like a hatch on a toe and a million things. So you know, that builds up and you think it's normal, and then like you finally like get out of it and you start going on your own after 15, 16 years, and you feel that pressure relief of just from not being so, you know, is something going to happen? What can we do if it does? And then you just like spiral, you know?
So you're feeling like this is going to be the next chapter?
Yeah, I think so. This, and then I have a dive school starting called Dive Dogs. Okay. And then I think that we've had a lot of accidents the last couple of years, and I just think that the traditional FII, PFI, PADI curriculum, it's outdated. I think for times changed. You can't do an 8-hour course now, and especially if you're a beginner. I'm talking about you've never been in the ocean, you want some confidence. That's where we're gonna have a few products, but really targeting beginners and then like a family that wants to take their kids. They have a 30, 40-foot boat, and they just want to go to the Bahamas and shoot some crawfish, shoot a couple hogfish, be safe, that kind of deal. You want to do a 5-minute breath hold in a pool, that's probably not our course. You want to dive 100 feet on a line, that's not our course, because we're going to do it realistic. I think the curriculum is going to be a lot less dense and easily absorbable for a beginner. And that's where I think there's a gap there, where it's like they're building you up with a 15-minute breath hold, and how many pull downs and how many times are you soaking your face in the water to trigger the mammalian reflex. And then you dive to 100 feet and you're like, oh yeah, well, that's different than hammering 100 feet all day long. One dive to 100, you start getting these false confidence a little bit, and I think it's just time to create a better curriculum for what we're dealing with nowadays. So I think we'll do that during the summer into the fall, and then have Guatemala going. And it's been good. Like, and you ask your family, like, they're like, not even ask, they'll be like, you seem happier. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Yeah, I am. So it's great to hear that, and then it's great to feel it too, because they're like, yeah, I do feel lighter, and then you're doing something you love. Like we were talking, like, this is therapy. Yeah. Talking about, like, because I never get to talk. It's me, my wife, and my 2 dogs. Like, she's done with fishing. Like, she's heard of man, it's a joke that she like knows more than my friends just through osmosis. Just of hearing, like, in the background. So yeah, I think I'm in a great place, different place. I don't know if we even call it like a midlife crisis, in a good way, in a positive way. Let's say, where you start realizing, it's just a fish kind of deal.
As much as we want to keep those fish in our little circle, we're happy for your success.
Yeah, I'm glad. At first I'm like, I'm telling you at first, like, these guys are gonna fucking kill me.
If we were gonna take them out back. Busting out the names of places. That's kind of like golden rule number 1.
Oh, it is.
And
but it was, what I like about that place is it's not Costa Rica, where like the barriers to entry are, it's you're not going to be able to just go down there and partner with, it's, I think we're doing it in a way where it's I understand the guys who had their, but I think we're doing it in a way where it's great for the sport. And what I want to do more now is we're starting to tag them with the little pea shooter. So you can go and tag like 20 tunas in a day, and without putting any stress on them. And now we can find out, we can give back. So now it's like, man, if we're going to be the lodge or taking some big fish, we need to give back to science. And I think that's a great way that they've done it with other species. And now we go out there and we just, with a little pea shooter, and you could tag 20 fish and maybe start learning a little more about them, because those yellowfins don't get tagged that often. They usually coming in the box. So
Brett and I were one of the last people to really spearfish in Ascension Island.
Oh, you got to tell me.
So we were there like right before first Cameron shot the big one with the pole spear, and then Daniel got the record. And I think if anyone can break that record, it's gonna be you. Out there with the pole spear, get it done.
I think it's gonna
bring it to Florida. Sorry, Daniel, we love you. I know you're Bahamas and South African, but bring that thing back to Miami.
Why don't we do this? Since you're breaking records, like you're hot right now with the pole spear. How about you break it and you come with us and you break it?
You got a deal.
Yeah, all right.
You got.
But I've been loving.
I want in on this.
Yeah.
Anytime I've ever had a record, the next fish he ends up shooting and it's the record. So
no way. It's Big Brother syndrome.
And then we leave the spot.
It's time to go. Of course, we're out of here. We don't want to fish.
Now you have the record. I don't get a chance back.
Oh, I love that. No, we're done. That's it. I got it. No, cut it.
No. We appreciate your time. We've always supported you. We love your art, your photography, your stories,
your energy.
You're welcome back anytime, Raul.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I had a blast.